Today's just going to be a real short video to talk about substrate and why it's important to wash it before you put it in your aquarium. Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. My name is Zenzo from Tazawa Tanks. So a lot of you have commented on a recent video that I posted about one of my aquariums. It's got Congo tetras in there right now. It's a 40 breeder. And I was asking for suggestions on what you think I should put in that tank with the Congo tetras. Now a lot of you had some wonderful ideas. I am thinking about those. I am researching them. The most important thing is that this tank is open top, so there is no lid on this aquarium, so I can't have anything that can escape, that can jump, etc. So some of the suggestions that you guys had would be good, but they are escape artists, so that wouldn't work out for me. So anyway, there were some great suggestions in there, so I'm definitely going to take those to heart, and there will be an upcoming video on this channel with that tank once I get new tank baits. But in the meantime, I added substrate to that tank. It was bare bottom before, so currently I have gravel in there. I have a bunch of manzanita wood that was locally harvested from my family's property. It's dead manzanita, so sustainable. And I put a bunch of leaves in there. I happen to put magnolia leaves in there. So I want to talk about substrate. So why is it important to wash your substrate before putting in your aquarium? Now, some of it is very basic and it makes sense. So obviously it can be dirty. So we don't want to take a substrate and put it into our new fish tank and have a bunch of cloudy mess in there with, you know, just dust and debris that was on the gravel or sand or whatever it is that we're adding get in the water column and just kind of float around in this big ugly cloud. What we want is we want to have clear looking water, and so that's why we want to rinse it off before we put it in the aquarium. Now even the gravel or the substrate that comes to you and it says that it's ready to add to the tank and doesn't need to be washed, it still needs to be washed. Now when you're rinsing your substrate, gravel, you know, sand, whatever it is, just use regular tap water. Use like an outdoor sink or a hose or something like that. I like to put it in buckets because that way I can really see what's floating in the bucket and I can kind of swish my arm around and rinse out the gravel thoroughly that way. But I've also done it to where you just take the plastic bag, poke a couple of holes in it, stick the hose in one end and just kind of let the hose run, and all the debris will kind of flush out through the other little hose that you poked in the bag. Now, the problem with not washing your substrate obviously is that you're going to get it dirt. You're going to have dirt and cloudy and kind of that mess in your tank, that dust. But also there might be things in there that could be potential harmful to your fish or potentially harmful to the overall setup of your tank and the balance, etc. So aside from the dust and debris, there could be things like insects that are dead and floating in there. Now, sometimes you might think that's great, it's fish food or it's going to help my nitrogen cycle or whatever. Correct, that could be the case if you knew where that insect came from and if it was, you know, an insect that was raised specifically for fish food. But this is just some insect that happened to be in the gravel pit and died, and we don't know how it died and why it died. Was it, you know, something that was, you know, baited and poisoned, or, you know, pesticides, etc., and it just happened to die there? So we don't want to put anything like that in our aquarium. In addition, there's other things in there. There's like sticks and little leaves and all kinds of weird things that you can find in your gravel or your substrate before you put it in the tank that's just in the bag. There could be bits of plastic in there. I found even like pieces of paint. Now some gravel, some substrates that you use will be colored gravel. Now I'm not talking about like the clown puke gravel that's like pink and blue and everything mixed in together, but even like just a regular black gravel. 99% of that black gravel that you're putting in your aquarium is man-made, so it's not naturally black. It has been coated, so sometimes that coating will come off and you'll find that coating floating around in that water when you're rinsing it out. So obviously we don't want to throw all that coating and all that unnatural stuff in the aquarium. We just want to have the gravel and the substrate, and if it's treated and coated, that's fine, but we don't want to have that extra stuff floating around. So like I said, it's just a short video, nothing too in-depth. I just do notice that some people don't wash their gravel or rinse their gravel before putting in their aquarium, and it's not just for aesthetic reasons but also for the health of your aquarium, because you don't want to add things in that bag that shouldn't be in your aquarium. So even like machinery that was used to, you know, bag up the gravel or the substrate, you know, people's hands and who knows what touch that stuff before it goes into the bag, and obviously sitting in that plastic and everything on a store shelf, there could be some additional contaminants. So rinse your gravel just with tap water. Doesn't take that long. It's just an extra 10 minutes or so of your time to ensure that your aquarium is safe and healthy for your fish. That's all I had for now. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.